Every patch of grass has the potential to become a skyscraper. All it needs is to be put under construction. Welcome back to yet another epic episode of Under Construction SA. I'm your host, Thuso Motsomane. And if you haven't subscribed on this channel, please click on that subscription button. Please like, and please go up there and click on that notification bell so every time we drop an episode, you are notified. And in case if it's your first time here, you don't know what we're about, I just want to take you through what Under Construction is about. Under Construction is about young people who want to come up from different industries who are doing amazing stuff. We come and have a conversation with them about their journeys, as well as we get people who have been in the game so that they can disperse information, people who are at the pinnacle who can tell us as young people what to do to get to where they are. So we sell inspiration and information. So every Sunday at 5 p.m. on YouTube, we are here every Sunday without fail. 5 p.m. Make sure you tune into our podcast. And today I have a very, very, very special guest, Thapelo. As you know, I was struggling. I was even trying to pronounce your surname. I think it's Leluma. Am I right?
No, Leluma. Yeah, that I mean, like, yeah, Leluma. It gets a lot of people. So yeah, it's chill.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Nah, it's chill. Yeah.
So we have Thapelo Leluma, who is a creative, a businessman, a marketing guy, which I saw it says digital analyst. So we're gonna have a conversation with him. Welcome to Under Construction SA, man. How are you doing? How are you feeling today?
Thank you for having me, man. I'm okay. I'm good. No complaints. At least there's no load shedding today, you know. So I'm in good moods. Yeah, man. Yeah.
This load shedding thing, and it's tricky because for us to record, right, it becomes difficult because of schedules, and we sometimes run behind. Literally, maybe record day before, you know, because of load shedding. And you find that Sundays approaching, you know, an episode. So this loading thing is really messing us up. I remember I was speaking to these kids. They said, I don't care about load shedding because they're in private high school. They say, I'm like, yeah, your age, you know about load shedding because it didn't affect things that I was doing. So if you're in business, if you're doing something, now that you're an adult, you have more responsibility. It really affects. But enough about load shedding and me. Maybe tell our people where you're from and give a picture of your background that you kind of grew up in.
Yeah. I'm originally from Free State, from a township called Botshabelo. I went to school in Free State in a small town called Vepenar. I think, I grew up in Botshabelo, but I mostly grew up in Vepenar as well because of school. But yeah, originally from the Free State, and studied in Cape Town, did marketing, and moved this side to Joburg, closer to home. I have family in the Vaal as well. So yeah, that's where I grew up.
Wow. Seeing that you come from Free State, Botshabelo, was there anything about Botshabelo that really, because you're not from Joburg or big city, man, where things are easily available, or things are in your you see them where you can dream that this is possible. What were the things that made you think that to become, maybe to go and study digital, or to start to become a marketing person, to become a creative, to do voiceovers on DSTV? Was there anything that said to you in Botshabelo that you can make it out of this place?
Yeah, you know, in as much as most probably a lot of people don't know Botshabelo, but it's one of the biggest townships in the Free State. It's just 20 minutes or 30 minutes outside of Bloemfontein. I think a lot of people would then know Bloemfontein in the Free State. But growing up in Botshabelo, there were kind of inspirations, if I may say so, that people that I looked up to, who made me believe in my own dreams. I mean, like, in as much as it's a free state, we do have access to personalities and people that have done stuff like in the media space and marketing, you know. But I think also going to school where I went to, you meet a lot of people from different places because it was a boarding school. Even though I was in boarding, you know, you meet a lot of people from different places who are influenced by different cultures, but we are all exposed to media, and I guess we all had these dreams, you know. So yeah, there were pockets of inspiration from Botshabelo alone, the township that, I mean, like the guys that used to play soccer, and yeah, I mean, like, I'm trying to think if there are celebrities. There was this one guy who's still there, who's a big inspiration, called Batukada. He's on City FM, you know. But even how he packaged himself as a brand or a public figure, he didn't present himself as a celebrity, you know. And he used to say, "Ko Botshabelo, ha re na di celebrity, re di celebrity kaofela," you know. So that in itself, I think, was an inspiration to say, you can still play at the same level as I do without coming across as a big shot in some way. Yeah, I think that's where pockets of inspiration used to come from.
Wow, that's amazing. I know Batukada. I think he's a well-known radio personality in South Africa.
Yeah.
So a lot of people should know who he is. And to hear the story that he doesn't act, at least he was accessible. And I think it really helps people who are in township to say their examples. Because one of the things I remember what Pussy Tembo spoke about is that when we get money, right, people who are in the townships and stuff like that, we move to the burbs, right? For him, it was being about Scienton and stuff like that, move out of Soweto, wherever you were. And then the kids, the only example they have is gangsters. So they want to emulate gangsters. They don't get to see the Patukaras of this world, that you can actually live an honest life and become big in the Free State and in South Africa out of living an honest life, you know. So I think you just reminded me of that story. But I want to touch on something, boarding school, because I think I went to boarding school at the age of 4, you know. I only realized later, like, flip, I was at boarding school. How experience? You don't feel neglected by your parents. Tell me about your boarding experience as a teenager, as a child.
You know, I was fortunate because I think I didn't stay too long. Like, I think my experience of boarding, like coming from Botshabelo, I didn't go to school there. I think one thing that my mom tried to do was to make sure that we had access to spaces and places that she never had access to. So the moment like grade 1, she sent me to a school in a small town called Divesdor, and the school was called Christian Divets, which was a boarding school. So in grade 1, I was probably 5, turning 6. I went to school very early, and I was in boarding school there. I stayed at a hostel, and I couldn't take care of myself because every time I get for the holidays, I'd go home and I would have repeated a white shirt for like weeks. So now it was becoming beige, you know. And so my grandmother used to complain, it's like, hey, this boy is too small to be staying in a boarding school, you know. But because she still wanted to have access to those type of schools, she sent me to another school where fortunately her aunts, who are my grandmothers, stayed like 5 minutes away from school. So I could legit walk to school and still have the same experience of the other school. So I ended up just staying with my grandmothers, who pretty much raised me, I think from grade 2 till grade 12. That's where I stayed. So yeah, I think, yeah, I wouldn't, at that early age, I think I wouldn't have done well, go to boarding school, you know. But yeah, so I don't really have the full experience, like evolving and growing up in that space, you know, I was at least saved by my grandmothers, you know. Yeah.
I love the story of the beige shirt because you wore it.
Yeah.
Funny story.
Yeah.
But I wanna go into you studying, because you spoke about studying at the Cape Peninsula University in Cape Town.
Yeah.
And you were studying marketing. Why marketing, and why specifically Cape Town?
Yeah. I mean, like earlier you were talking about influences, right? Like what could have evoked a certain type of inspiration to go into the spaces that I found myself in. I think school, you know, I used to love like business studies. And I think by grade 10 or 11, I was already exposed to the marketing function. I think they used to call them eight business functions or functions of business. Yeah. And I was exposed to one of them, which I loved when we covered that chapter, which was marketing, you know, and in there was advertising and all these type of stuff. And I knew from high school, from that time already, I want to get into that space. So I did a little bit of my research, and yeah, I had my parents, or my mother had already planned that after high school, I would go to Cape Town because that's where her sister was. So I had family that side. And yeah, and I think when I got there already, I knew that I wanted to get into marketing. But it wasn't like an easy transition because I had not done well in grade 12, you know. I was quite a slacker. So I tried to pull up myself towards the end of the term. So I was fortunate. I passed grade 12, but you know, they say, come on, how I'm doing. I just made it, you know. But I had already applied for marketing. So when I got there, I met the HOD, you know. I was actually a walk-in entrant because I don't know what was happening with my application process, but I met the HOD. And this is what I always believe, I was meant to study marketing because my results weren't looking too good, you know, in terms of other things like physics, which is something I wonder, why did I even study physics, you know, and maths and all this type of stuff. And it was left to me to sell myself because the HOD was like, why do you want to study marketing? And I had to do like a pitch, like an elevator pitch. And because I was with one of our family friends, like this other time, and he was trying to speak for me. And the HOD was like, no, let him speak for himself, you know. And that was a rare moment because there were queues outside and I met this guy in his office. I had to pitch and he was like, okay, cool, come tomorrow and write a test, you know. And the test was a case study and was everything around marketing. And I aced it, which could tell you that this is what I loved and this is what I wanted to do, you know. And yeah, so to answer your question, it goes as far as me being exposed to business studies in high school.
Oh, what a great story! What a great story! Thoroughly enjoyed that. But now, because I know you were into content creation, you're into the entertainment industry or the arts, such a contrast, marketing, or that's maybe how I see it, you know.
Yeah.
Brings me, how do you then switch from marketing? When does the switch, or when does the merger, where you merge marketing and content creation, or being a content creator?
I don't see it as a switch, you know. And I probably don't have the best theory for it, but I'm sure there's a theory out there because it's all communication for me, you know. For me, you're communicating, you're creating content. Content is a big part of marketing as well, but I guess you are speaking to how I got into YouTube and probably like voiceover art work. I think sure, everything is from high school, bro. I don't want to lie. Like, I always tell people it's just unfortunate that there wasn't like dedicated arts class or drama classes in high school, because I was that kid, you know. I was very theatric. I was always the loud class clown, you know. I used to enjoy like concerts where we used to perform and do all those type of stuff. Like in primary, I used to love arts and culture. I don't know if you remember arts and culture. You know,
Very well.
I used to ace, yeah, I used to ace presentations. I loved standing in front of people. But by personality, Jay, I'm the type of person that loves entertaining people. So I think when I got into marketing, advertising, like there were activities and exercises that we had to do, creating little ads here and there, and I had to role play, you know. I had to do this, you know. I was quite an exciting student, you know. So fortunately as well, like on campus, I pursued some sort of career in, like, they had campus radio. So I was there. I was one of the presenters. So I could also still find ways to express my love for, I don't know what you call it, my love for anything related to art. And that's when I learned also how to project my voice, how to play around, and how to develop like proper good communication skills, you know. And yeah, so it I don't know, it's intertwined. It's not far from the other. There's always like aspects of creativity and content creating. So that it all plays together, you know.
Okay, wow, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy to hear that everything was really it goes back to when you were young, when you're in high school. And I think
Yeah.
sorry for that. It's a story of many of us who were probably were not exposed or were not encouraged to go into art or pursue what you cared about. We were told, you know, go to school, study, have us, and get married. And I think, especially us, I think it's changing now with what do they call them? Is it Generation X? But I know I'm at 2000.
Yeah.
The name they carry. Like for them, it's easier for them, and I think it's better for them. You know, they get introduced to things like purples. When I was in high school, man, in 2010, 2011, there was nothing like purples or whatever. It was like, yo, study, pass, and go to university, maybe become a lawyer or a doctor. You know, and to see what's happening right now, I think it's really amazing, because they can be forex traders and make money while they're still in high school. You know, sometimes I envy them, because the internet has made things so accessible. They are YouTubers. They're making money in high school. So when the parents say you must go and study, like, yo, I have the money. I don't have to go do what you're saying. I can do money, or I can just move around. You can literally move out, because I'm not rebellion. But because you have the money to move out, you know, and you do what you're passionate about, you know? And that's I think that's the sad part about our generation, where the 90s, the 80s, where we, you know, we were not encouraged to go into arts. It was not seen as a career. It was not taken serious. We were not exposed. We didn't have the internet as it is today. So yeah, man, it's crazy. So I want to go into You Don't Say. You started You Don't Say with your business partner. I'm even wondering why you stopped it as well. I want to know that, because I don't see it anymore. You Don't Say with Buddha. How did that come about from your side? Because he was here and he told us his side of the story. I want to hear your side of the story.
Yeah, I need to check if his side of the story we are aligned before I contact. He didn't release a PR statement, you know. But yeah, Thuso and I met in advertising, you know. As I say, like, these things just have a way of working together. We met in advertising, actually. And one of I think what made us to gravitate towards each other was our beliefs and just faith. You bump into this guy into this creative space, an industry that's known for a lot of things, you know. But this guy is cool, you know, and he also thinks I'm cool, and we somehow have a conversation about faith. And I realized, hey, this guy is born again. I'm also born again. You know, we love Christ. You know, we serve at our respective local churches, and he has a passion for radio. I have a passion for radio as well. You know, he used to do a podcast series. I used to be on campus radio, and then we like, yo, actually, he tells me these are his ideas, these are my ideas, they're not too far off from what we're trying to achieve in the space. Like, okay, cool. Let's actually, this is how it started then. Like, yo, let's record a demo and try to get into radio, you know? And then, yeah, I think we script a little something there. The demo is still actually on SoundCloud, you know? We record this little demo, and I think it was a couple of episodes. We broke it down nicely there. And yeah, I think we got kickbacks. People were telling us, you can't just sell your voice or personality. You kind of have to sell like a content piece that will disrupt the regular programming, you know? So we conceptualized something, we start writing. This is how we started putting together like a synopsis for a show, you know? And this whole time, so me and Thuso, we aren't aware that during this whole process, we're actually giving birth to something new, you know? And then while still doing these exercises, knocking on doors, hey, you know, the politics of radio and getting into these spaces tricky. And then we end up with, hey, dog, actually, let's just rock YouTube, you know? Let's just do something on YouTube. This is the idea. Let's go, you know? And then right there where we were working, we were still at Ogilvy at that time. There was a studio downstairs where we were recording the demos. Spoke to the guys and said, yo, this is what we're thinking. This is the space that we're trying to get into. And then the gents were very supportive, worked a nice little cost there. And then, yeah, we started recording. And at first it was legit unscripted, you know, it was very raw. We went in there and we started, and you can legit, from the first episode, you can see its evolution and it becoming something. From the first episode, you can see it build up and become something, and a product, something that we could essentially say, this is what You Don't Say represents, this is what we are all about, and this is what we're trying to achieve, you know? And honestly, to answer the question of if we have stopped, I don't think we have stopped. I think it's just the inconsistencies, you know. We have a library of content. We have stuff that we've archived that we just need to execute. I think it's just a matter of time, because Thuso is busy, I'm busy, you know. But yeah, we still have big plans around You Don't Say. So yeah, that's my side. I don't know if it's far off from what he has said or shared, you know.
Yeah, I did say that you guys are going to come back. I just forgot what he said because it's so far back. We had an episode with him last year. Like, it was the first episode in May. So you can imagine, you know, I don't recall everything that he said, but I just recall how he said the show started, which was even the name, our search was bad, you know, You Don't Say.
Yeah,
that's
You Don't Say,
it comes from a phrase from a guy, our search was bad, you know, I'm like, yo, I thought that was really, really cool. And, you know, and he was even speaking about how, I think you guys were, unless, like you're saying, unless if it's PR, I'm thinking, I'm like, what if it was the PR? Because I've got to think of it. He was just speaking about, but I think it was genuine. He was just speaking about where men are trash, the hashtag men are trash, what it's peak, you know? And you guys say, no, you know what? Let's invite men. Let's have a conversation, you know, as men. And let's get quality men in here to speak about issues, you know, and let's give men a platform where they can express themselves. That's what I remember. Because at that time, Lamela was the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I right?
I think he shared what the show is about and how I'm probably speaking to how we came about to work together, you know. Yeah, but I think that's how the concept of the show then came about. I'm covering the framework, and I think he went into the content of the show, you know. Yeah.
But I really think you guys are a really, really cool show, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, outside your spot, you don't say like that phrasing team. It's killer. And I used to want to.
Yeah, sorry to interject, man. I think as you're saying now, you're reminded, it feels like a nostalgic feel. You reminded me of how it actually, like us creating, you don't say, it legit became like a self-correct platform, you know, where Rona as Majida, we come in and we explore views, you know, and opinions and try to understand what informs those opinions. And I think that's where the you know, you don't see. That's the epiphany, or that when the light bulb switches on, like yeah, you know, like yo, dog. You don't say, like it has various representations, you know, and what it could mean. But it was legit to rewrite the male narrative and to learn from one another and to try to go through this self-correct process on this platform, you know. And one thing I'll tell you, you know, some people, when they don't see us putting out or creating for You Don't Say, we, like, even if you ask him now, that show had a major and probably one of the greatest impact was us. It transformed us more. I mean, there are other people who were inspired by the show and what it did with the conversations and all of that. But myself and Thuso, pre and post You Don't Say, are totally different people. And it has been one of the most fulfilling and wholesome journeys, you know. And hopefully, like, when we come back, hopefully when we come back, it will change other people's lives as well.
I love the fact that the show, more than anything, changed you guys. And I don't think it's what you guys maybe were aiming for, but along the journey, it really, really transformed you guys and what you guys are about. It's good to hear sort of the behind the scenes, and this is what the show is about. And I want to say shout out to you guys, because that to be as men to say, you know what, let's instead of complaining, let's become part of the solution. Because it's easy to point out the wrongs. It's easy to point out what's wrong about the thing, but it's more difficult to come up with a solution and say, I'm going to stand up and do something about it, you know. And I just want to say shout out to you guys. I want to go to the voiceover part, you know, where I think it's last year. You'll correct me if I'm wrong, because I used to hear your voice. I have seen on WhatsApp, so I've been following you guys as well for a long time, so I want to know the context. So you did voiceover work for Super Sport, you know. I think you were the main guy for the disky whatever. I don't know what they call
it. The fixtures, the game announcements. Yeah.
Yes, you are. Yeah, it was refreshing here. I'm like, oh, this is Thapelo, man. You know, I felt like I know you, but I was like, yo. I'm like, yo, I know this guy. You know, and it's like I was, and I don't know you from a Basso, but hearing that for me, I was every day, every time, I was just happy to hear, because I know Thuso, you know, like, yo, someone that I know. And I think you'd done an interview with your Sandy the Nisi, and I had your story and your family background and stuff like that. There was something actually that day that really struck me that you spoke about. We'll go into it, but I want to hear the story of, because that was big. This is Super Sport. You are announcing this Kaizer Chiefs versus what, and this is your voice. How did you get that gig? How did you get that gig?
So when I like, as I was saying, started working advertising with Thuso and so forth, we were actually graduates at that time. And this is why I say these things, like, work all together. We were doing a training and like radio production, and then amongst the grads, we were asked, so we were doing the whole process, like the campaign, how it comes in, how it's briefed in, and how then scripts are formulated, and then talent and artists come in and record. So they asked, who wants to volunteer to be the voice? Chief, because I like things. So I was just like, me, I'll rock, And they got me into the studio, and everyone else was role-playing other parts of this whole process. And yeah, we recorded a nice script that was already live. So I took that demo, man. That was a demo. I was gifted that demo. I was like, this sounds nice. You should try, get into this space. And that's how I was introduced to voiceovers. And I started using, still today, I use that recording as a demo when agencies want a voice, And I think from there on, I used to do radio voiceovers, Sesotho, English, so forth. And then one day, there were auditions for that DSTV PSL fixture announcements. And one of my friends who had known that I have a passion and love for voiceover work said, you should actually give it a shot there. And they sent me like a script and a reference, of how this thing is normally recorded. And then I went through that, practiced a little bit. Then I went to the studio for an audition. And yeah, the guys loved my energy, and I guess it's just all part of the journey. And that's how I landed it. I think from the time I started doing voiceovers to the time I landed that gig, I think I had been doing voiceovers for like 3-4 years. Yeah. And that's when that gig came through. And that was really, I think that was really dope, because that was the first TV voiceover that I did. Yeah.
And that was on multi-choice DSTV.
Yeah. No, it was quite
like
big.
I said,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that for me was a big deal. Like I said, like I felt like I know this guy. Like, I know this guy that's doing these voiceovers.
Yeah.
I'm sure even if I knew someone that loves songs, I was like, that guy that does it, he's my friend.
No, it was a very proud moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very proud moment, man.
Yeah, man. So there was something, like I said, there was something that you said actually when you did an interview with Supermate on, I think a cappella or something like that. We used to do the lives during this peak lockdown.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah, I remember.
So
I think I remember part.
Yeah, peak lockdown. And you said something that struck me. I haven't wrote it on my stats that day. I remember when you were speaking about, I think there's a death of your parent, and you spoke about, I was not supposed to, man, I had it. I was not, just because my mother died doesn't mean I had to die with her,
Yeah.
You spoke like that thing really came. I'm like, flip, for someone that lost a parent to say, just because they died doesn't mean my dreams, my life had to die with it. You still remember that?
That's I think that's just what I've always believed as a kid, like I've always had like big dreams as a kid, and one thing, even if those dreams weren't like well defined as a kid, you just know that you're special. And I think that's one thing that I always tell people, like, my mom told me that I'm special, and that's something that I always carry with me, and you could see in how my mom really was a hustler. She made sure, like, some of the things, as I said earlier, that she never got to achieve or accomplish, she wanted to set up us nicely, wanted to set us up nicely to be able to fulfill some of those dreams. So I think it would be a great disservice, to not go on to fully pursue some of those dreams, you know. And I think when your parent dies, they would have done all they could to make sure that they set you up nicely for the future and whatever it is that you need to accomplish in life. Whether be they've worked 9 to 5 all their lives to make sure that they afford your fees, goes gela, to get you everything that you need to be prepared for the future. So it's legit to set you up for success. That's pretty much what your parents do, you know. They work ahead and all of that. So it's a great disservice for me to say, just because my mom is out now, it ends here, you know. And I always use this script as a basis for it all. Like when Jesus Christ died so that we may have life in abundance, you know. Do you get what I'm saying? Like Christ didn't die so that it's just feeling now there's nothing, you know. No, his death actually became a point of departure in some way for us now to journey and embark on this beautiful journey where we are able to access blessings, you know, and live life to the fullest, you know. So I always say, like, Oledi Lakamfana didn't die so that I can live life kishwile, you know. Yeah, she was full of life, you know, I was full of life. A lot of people will tell you, like, part of my personality comes from my mom, even just how I look, you know. So yeah, bro, like when your parents die and they had this spaza shop or the business was at a very small scale, I don't think you should go on and destroy it and run it to the ground. But I think anyone that has good vision, you are gonna build from there and turn the spaza into a supermarket, you know, so that the legacy can live on. So anyone who sees me and remembers, oh, his mother died at a very young age, should be able to still see me carry on full of life and accessing spaces and parts of life where probably my mom would have been most proud of me. Yeah, that's a mouthful, but yeah.
I think what you speak to reminds me of the word being intentional, you know, and intentionality. And maybe I'll ask you, for you, what does intentionality mean? What does intentionally look like? What being intentional look like to you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's legit being clear in terms of what you're trying to achieve, you know, and being committed to that, you know. That's pretty much me being intentional, you know, like I'm clear what it is that I'm trying to achieve and I'm committed, you know. The execution or the plan towards whatever it is that I intend to achieve may not work out, but the vision of achieving whatever it is ahead of me is clear. It's just different plans, different ideas to be able to achieve what I intend to achieve. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. It speaks about clarity and achievement. And speaking also about achieving, you know, what if there's someone out there who wants to do what you do, you know, have a channel like You Don't Say, or Super Sport, you know, what would your advice be to someone that's watching this and like, I want to be a Thapelo, you know, maybe I'm a teenager, I'm in high school, you know, I'm watching this from a teenager, I'm a young adult, you know, I'm stuck in a job that I don't like. I'm old even, but this job that I'm doing, I don't like. And I'm thinking about becoming what would your advice be to those three people?
Yeah. I think first of all, man, like, don't start off by trying to be the next person. But I understand your question, but the best person that you can be is you, you know. I think that's as far as how unique it can be, you know. But in terms of some of the spaces maybe where we've been fortunate or graced to be able to operate in, or certain milestones that we've been able to reach, that the next person may aspire to also reach. I think the most important thing is your why. You know, why, you know. It's not enough for me to say, hey, Thuso Oshapa under construction. I didn't like stuff that's Thuso. But
that's true.
yeah, I don't understand why Thuso is doing that. You know, that's most key. I think once you can answer the why, I think then the world is your oyster, you know. Because then you will interrogate everything that you do, like legit. Like that's why for me now, I mean, there are people that are on YouTube, there are people that create content, and I love it for them. They probably have different goals and objectives from what I'm trying to achieve with YouTube. That's why I like when Thuso is consistent with his content. I don't feel some type of way or weird. I'm like, oh, shoot, you know, because my why is different from Thuso's, you know. Yeah, so I think that's where you need to start, because then you won't feel the need to compete, you know, and you won't feel the need to compare yourself to the next person. The moment you start comparing yourself to the next person, you've already lost it. You no longer are moving in your lane, you know. Yeah, so I think once you ask yourself the why, that's when you discover your purpose, and you will realize that purpose is much more powerful than popularity, you know.
Yeah, put that in the comment section, write on your statuses. Purpose is more important than being popular. What did you say?
Yeah.
I can repeat it. Maybe I didn't get it.
Yeah, purpose is more powerful than popularity, you know.
Oh, purpose is more powerful than popularity, bro.
Yeah,
like right now in the notes, don't forget this. I think Nami, I'm gonna carry this for the rest of my life. Purpose is more powerful than popularity. And you know, as you were speaking, I was reminded of my birthday, which was on the 4th of July. The lady that I started this whole thing with, Ulamlela, because she knows the struggles, she knows I think she still sort of watches the show, and she sent me a voice note and said, you know what? One thing I respect about you is even when the odds are against you, even through the trials, like you don't give up on your dreams. Because I was speaking about under construction specifically, you don't, like you are still consistent in doing this thing regardless of what's happening.
Yeah.
And again, as I was listening to the voice note, it's because of what pushes me is the why I'm doing it. It's the reason why. It's not even a paid. So the reason why I do it is because at the end of the day, like I spoke in the beginning, you know, I see young people from specifically underprivileged background and Kokas in the rural areas. If I can take you, Thaps, and we shoot something like this in the rural areas, you know, and have them also as part of the audience ask questions and take it to a class, you know, where kids can touch the stars, can interact. Because for me, I'm all also about love. You know, when we go there, I don't want someone that's gonna be like, I want someone to say, you know what, we're gonna love these people. This is why we're there. We're there for love, we're there for inspiration, and we're there to give people information, because we know as Black people, we have much information. Like I've realized as I grow and as I went into institutions, specifically where there's white people, how backward we are in terms of information, and mainly because of maybe our politicians as well as cool citizens, a lot of stuff. And I determined in my heart that, you know what, because I've read books, you know, about maybe rich dad, poor dad, because and I'm speaking years ago. That's when I started. These were things that were implanted in my heart to say, you know what, you need to get information like this about vision, about purpose, you know, and take stars so that they can see them and they can know it's possible. It doesn't matter. You know, I want someone to think in the rural area to say, you know what, it's not Vets is too small for me. I want to go study in the USA. I want to study in the UK. You know, I want to study in Nigeria. I want to go to New Zealand. Like the world is your oyster. You know, so I'm sorry, I know it's about you, but
no,
you just
it's dope.
those.
Yeah, no.
You provoke those
the passion.
The passion of, you know, the why is very, very important of what we do. Yes, at the end of the day, we want to make money. Yes, at the end of the day, we want to eat. But for me, what drives me is, you know, seeing young people live better lives, man. I want to 10 years, 20 years down the line for a kid to say, you know what, you changed my life. When you brought this person, when you did this, when you paid for my schools, you know, you changed my life. This, for me, that's what I'm about as an individual, and everything that I build around me, it always goes down to that why of wanting to help the youth of South Africa, you know. So,
and let's go.
With that being said, I want to ask you maybe what drives you? What drives
you? Yeah, I think there's something that Dr. Motsomane, that was like one of my earliest mentors around vision, you know. Yeah, I think he speaks about dying empty, you know, like everything that you have in you, you need to pour out and make sure that you serve the world with, you know. I think what drives me is that I don't wanna die having not fulfilled whatever assignment, you know, I'm called to accomplish, you know. So that's why like I avoid like just being busy. It's one thing to be busy but doing nothing, you know. I'd rather be doing nothing than being busy doing nothing, you know. So what drives me is just making sure that I fulfill the assignment that I'm called to accomplish while I'm still alive. I have so much energy, you know, so I want to channel it accordingly, you know. I think that's just my drive.
Dying empty assignment, purpose, you know. I think we one and the same person, you know, in terms of that, because as well, I think I wouldn't be here if it was not for Dr. Motsomane reading. I remember, I think in 2016, I read The Pound Principle of Vision, you know. And from there, I think my life shifted and I knew what I want to do, what I'm about and stuff like that. And if you are watching this and you don't know who Dr. Motsomane is, you better search, buy books, search him on YouTube. Like your life is gonna change. Like it's really, really gonna change. Especially if you're struggling with finding why do you exist, purpose. If you have that, I think he's the best man to listen to. He will help you figure it out. And eventually I figured out why I exist. And that's why platforms like Under Construction are there, because I figured out who I am. And then I aligned everything with who I am. So I want to ask you finally, what should we expect from you, and what's your message to the youth of South
Africa? Hey, Chief. Hey, ask that again. Hey, that's you sound like you are asking Hugh Masekela now, someone who has done a lot. Before I can speak to the youth of South Africa, I'm still speaking to myself, you know. And every day when I wake up, I tell myself, you can do it, man. Keep going. So I don't think sure, man. I think everything that we've spoken about here, I think around purpose and vision, you know, I think I can say to anyone out there, not just the young people, but just my peers, because I think there are a lot of people that still struggle with the why, you know. I think why they're here, you know. I mean, like, if you understand what you're called to do and what you've been capacitated to do, you will not leave the room until you've accomplished that, whatever it is, you know. If you're called in to serve tea and authority tea bag, you can't leave and walk out of the room without having served the people the tea, because you're the only one that's probably called to do that, you know. So that will drive you, that will make you or give you the confidence to stay in the room, or at least find your place in the room, you know. So yeah, I don't wanna, you can hear where I'm going with it. I don't wanna talk about suicide, but you know, I'm trying to say anything related to mental health. I think get the right support when you feel like you're not worthy to be in the room as well. Like, just get the right support, get the right people around you that will help you in whatever it is that you're called to do in the room that you're in. I'm speaking in parables, but yeah, I think these are some of the things that I keep telling myself as well in my journey, you know, like, you deserve to be here. You have something to offer. And when you feel a little bit like or you need the strength, it's always cool to find the right support and people around you. I think, yeah, anything else bigger than that, I think I'll leave it to a Vusi Tembekwayo, you know. And
You crack me. Oh. Hey, but you know, I like that you touched on mental health and you still figuring out life. This is why we exist. The name of the show is Under Construction, meaning we're not there yet. And I think Miles Rogan speaks about it, the construction. He says, when you go to a construction site, it looks like nothing is happening. There's a coming soon sign, which speaks of faith, right? People are already walking in. This is your vision. Like, people are, it says, there's nothing, there's no building, there are bulldozers, it looks messy, you know. But there's a coming soon sign. There's even cars and people walking in. It speaks of they have faith that that's going to happen. But when you look at their current situation, it doesn't speak to their vision, you know. And for me to say, is to say, all of us are under construction. All of us have to always wake up and say, you know what, give it one more try. Don't give up. And like you said, you have to surround yourself with the right people, you know. And that's why we're here. We're under construction. We don't have it. We don't have it all together. We're learning. We're growing. And eventually, I will visit Tembekwayo in the future. We will know what to say to the youth of South Africa. But on a lighter note, there's this thing we like it under construction. Actually, I haven't done it in a while. Which, if you were to describe your life right now, using a song, what's the name of the song? And can you please sing the chorus for us?
Yo, this is brutal. Hey, this guy. Not the singing part, my man. A song.
You can rap it. If you like rapping, you can rap.
Shucks. So you basically asking me the soundtrack to my life at the moment.
Yeah. How's the soundtrack to your life?
Sure, chief. There's so many songs. Hey, my man. Hi, my man. Hey,
just pick one or two. We can list a couple of them and why, at least.
Shucks, can I check the last? I think my playlist is here on my phone, you know. Thing is, I've been listening to a lot of jazz for the past few days. No words, nothing, just feels, you know. Hey, I choose.
At least give us your favorite song of all time. At least give us your favorite song of all time. At least that.
Okay, my favorite song of all time, it's a song by T.I. I always say, No Matter What.
You have to give us Just a Young 16 or the chorus.
Hey, this guy.
I'm sure you know it.
Yeah, I think, kind of, how does that thing go? Like, hey, in a little nigga thing, and now I'm thinking a lot of niggas in the song, you know, and parental guidance, yeah. I'm trying, I think the last verse of the song, It goes like I lost my partner and my daughter in the same year. Somehow I rise above my problems and remain here. Wonder how I face years and I'm still chilling, easy, let go and let God deal with it. That's me, my boy. Yeah, and I'm sure, no matter what, Chief. And I'm sure there are people who know me who thought I would be quoting Kanye West.
Yeah, man, I think Paper Trade, I think for me, that was his best album, you know, for me, Paper Trade, because that comes from Paper Trade. Yo, I said, there I was deep in hip hop. I was deep in hip hop. Not so much now, but that album was fire. I used to play when I was cleaning my mama's house. I remember very well. So, I think that was when Wayne was peaking, peak Wayne at that time. Yeah, and it was a time. You know, that was a time. It was. That was Thuso's time, you know. So my 2010.
Bro.
So, but man, thank you for coming through, man. Enjoyed the conversation. We look forward to seeing you rise higher and higher, and probably having a part 2, man, with where you are more informed, where you have experienced life. When you had more experiences, more work, and I know you're in business as well. Even though we didn't touch on that, we'll maybe focus on the business aspect and how running a business, you know. And thank you for coming through, man. Thank you for coming through.
Salute, man. Thank you so much for having me. Stay blessed, and I hope the platform grows to great heights, man.
Thank you very much. And that's it from us from Under Construction SA. You know, we spoke about vision, we spoke about purpose. You know, we even went into the childhood. You know, about how when we were young, we didn't have people around us like the kids of today. To the kids of today, you need to realize how privileged you are to have information all over the internet, you know. And I think that's one of the messages that you should take from this, you know. Even if you're older, to say, you know what, information is all over. We have better chances. You can trade, you can be a YouTuber, like you can literally you can do anything in terms of creative work, you know, even business, you know, we can advertise on social media. You don't have to do the traditional way and stuff like that. Like social media is just at the tip of our fingers, and it's free, you know. Yeah, it's free. Technically, it's free, but you buy data and stuff like that. And also you can boost because I know people are saying, no, it's not free, you buy data. But that's it from us from Under Construction SA. Catch us next week, 5 p.m. on Under Construction SA. And don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't get scared. Let people benefit from this, know about the platform. And for Thuso Motsomane, thank you for watching.